Clearly knowing the activity of the mind faculty, the doorway to liberation. My dear children, after we have walked through the wondrous doors of the senses, eyes and seeing, eye faculty, ears and hearing, ear faculty, the nose and smelling, nose faculty, the tongue and tasting, tongue faculty, and the body and sensations, body faculty, today we continue into a very special, very deep realm where the subtlest secrets of consciousness are hidden, the mind faculty, the doorway of the knowing that is operating in every moment. Have you ever wondered, what knows that I'm thinking? What knows when my body moves? What knows when emotions arise? And what knows that I am knowing? Today, I will lead you to a quiet space in the heart where the mind faculty, silent yet never absent, quietly and clearly knows everything. Soba An. Teacher, is the mind faculty the same as thinking? Teacher Hoisan. Not at all, child. Thoughts are wandering illusions, discursive thoughts. The mind faculty is the knowing that is present even before a thought arises. It has no form and offers no explanations. It does not do anything, but without it, no one would know that a thought just occurred. Today, we will 1. Get acquainted with the formless knowing, which is the mind faculty. 2. Distinguish between the mind faculty, mental consciousness, and the knowing nature. 3. Observe the mind faculty so we are no longer swept away by wandering thoughts. 4. See the doorway to liberation right within each thought. Are you ready? Let's begin. Part 2. Listening to the mind faculty, the silent knowing. That afternoon, a gentle breeze blew across the temple eaves. Bodhi leaves rustled like whispers from a faraway realm. The teacher gazed at Bei An with tender eyes. Husan said, An, have you ever asked yourself, what is it that knows you are thinking? Bei An said, my head just thinks by itself, and then I know that I'm thinking. Who is it that knows? Teacher? Teacher Huaisan said, that is the mind faculty. The mind faculty is an invisible doorway that is always open. It makes no sound, has no shape, no color, yet it clearly knows everything that happens in your body and mind. For example, when you are sitting quietly, suddenly a thought appears in your head. What will we eat for dinner? Right then, if you are alert, you will know, a thought about dinner just arose. What is it that knows that? It isn't the thought itself. It isn't the ears or the eyes. It is a silent knowing. That knowing does not judge, does not interfere, does nothing at all. It simply clearly knows that a wandering thought has just arisen. Tamya Nak. So, teacher, is the mind faculty the same as the knowing nature? Huaisan said, not exactly. The mind faculty is a doorway that leads to the knowing nature. The mind faculty is still within the worldly domain. It is the interface where the mind meets mental objects. It clearly knows how the 6 sense faculties, 6 sense objects, and 6 consciousnesses are operating. The mind faculty receives all that occurs, from hearing, seeing, and touching to thoughts, emotions, reactions, and discriminations. It knows even when you are not reacting. It knows even when you are being swept away by something. It does not intervene, but it always knows. Mental consciousness discriminates. The mind faculty merely knows whether there is discrimination or not. Mental consciousness likes, dislikes, right, wrong. The mind faculty simply sees clearly that consciousness is reacting with like, dislike, or right or wrong. If you regularly turn back to the mind faculty, you will discover a very peaceful doorway, one that no one can control or possess, yet is always present. Part 3. The Mind Faculty and Mental Consciousness, the Path of Discrimination and the Door of Liberation. One evening, when the sun had just slipped behind the western bamboo groves, golden light fell upon the temple steps, bathing the mossy tiles with warmth. Bang-an said, "Teacher, if the mind faculty doesn't think or discriminate, then what makes me like this and dislike that?" Huai-san said, "Excellent question. That is the function of mental consciousness." Mental consciousness is the active function of the mind that analyzes, evaluates, and labels. It says, "This is beautiful. That is ugly." It says, "I like this. I dislike that." But the mind faculty is different. The mind faculty doesn't judge. It simply knows mental consciousness is discriminating. It is like an observer standing outside the game, not playing, but clearly knowing who is playing and how they play. Tamguk said, "But it's hard, teacher. When a thought arises, I get carried away immediately. How can I know that I'm thinking instead of being dragged by it?" Huai-san said, "That's right, because you haven't recognized the mind faculty. When a thought first stirs, if you are present at the mind faculty, you will see, a thought is appearing, and if you don't chase it, it will dissolve." Then, the teacher gave an analogy. Imagine your mind is a vast sky. The mind faculty is the clear, open space of that sky. Mental consciousness is the clouds passing by, clouds of anger, sadness, liking, and disliking. If you cling to the clouds, you forget the sky. But if you stand still as the sky, as the mind faculty, you simply see clouds drifting by. They are not you. How to practice? 1. Whenever you notice an emotion, like irritation or discomfort, pause, take a deep breath, and gently hold your attention at the lower abdomen, the dantian. 2. Ask quietly, "What knows that I am irritated?" 3. In that moment, return to the silent knowing. That is the mind faculty. You will sense a gentle stillness and clarity. This is the first step toward living with the true mind. Part 4. The Mind Faculty, a doorway that never closes, recognized when you realize your true nature. One day the teacher took Bei-an and Tamguk to the main hall to sweep leaves. When they finished, the three sat under the temple eaves amid serenity and the occasional soft chime of wind bells. Husan said, "Do you hear the wind bells?" Tamguk said, "Yes, so delicate." Bei-an said, "I hear them too. I didn't try to listen. I just knew there was a sound." Huai-san said, "That is the mind faculty at work. It knows without effort." The mind faculty is a doorway that never closes. Whether you are playing, studying, eating, or even dreaming, the mind faculty silently knows all that is happening. When you're sad, the mind faculty knows. When you're happy, the mind faculty knows. When you're dreaming, the mind faculty knows there is a dream. When you are speaking, the mind faculty knows the body is speaking and the mind is thinking. Yet it says nothing, no words, no voice. It simply knows, quietly, deeply. Bei-an said, "Then why didn't I know that I had this knowing before?" Huai-san said, "Because you never paused to look deeply. The mind faculty is very near, yet very subtle. It is not something to be seen with the eyes or heard with the ears, but to be recognized in the still heart." A small exercise for you. 1. Each time a thought arises, Don't chase it. Just ask, who knows that I am thinking? 2. When touching something, hot, cold, soft, hard, pause and ask, what knows this? 3. When emotions surge, sadness, joy, anger, worry, breathe and recognize. There is something knowing this emotion. In this way, day by day, moment by moment, you will live with the mind faculty, and the door of liberation will gradually open, not somewhere far away, but right in every present moment. Part 6. The mind faculty is not thinking, not memory, not imagination. That evening, after the night practice, the teacher...
Exactly. That is when the mind faculty illuminates the other faculties. You see, but are not carried away by sights. You hear, but are not entangled in sounds. You simply and clearly know. Training to live with the mind faculty is not far away. It begins with knowing you are eating, knowing you are chewing, knowing you are thinking, knowing that an emotion is arising, knowing you are sad but not being controlled by sadness. No need to force thoughts away. No need to push emotions out. Just know that they are present. The mind faculty is the silent doorway that brings you back to the present moment. Remember, the mind faculty is not something mystical. It is very near, right within body and mind. Each moment of mindfulness is a moment the doorway to liberation opens. Early one morning, when dew still clung to the leaves, the teacher told the children an old story. Long ago, there was a strange friend. This friend never spoke and never interfered, but was always by your side. Whether joy or sorrow, success or failure, this friend was always there. Like the mind faculty, right, teacher? Exactly. The mind faculty doesn't need to be called to arrive, and doesn't sulk when forgotten. Even if you forget it, it quietly and clearly knows everything. When you're at school, the mind faculty knows. When you're playing, the mind faculty knows. When you happen to feel upset with someone, the mind faculty knows. When you become mindful and return to the breath, the mind faculty knows it very clearly. If you befriend the mind faculty, you will never feel lonely. When I return to that silent knowing, I don't feel anxious anymore, even if the homework is hard or friends won't play with me. Yes, because when you dwell in the mind faculty, you dwell in the true heart, unshaken by praise and blame, gain and loss. The mind faculty is a lucid friend, loyal, peaceful, never leaving you. Just remember to come back to it, and you have already taken a very firm step on the path. That afternoon, the wind picked up. Leaves carpeted the temple yard. While sweeping, Bayon felt annoyed each time the wind blew leaves back across the path. I keep sweeping, but the leaves keep blowing back. I'm getting frustrated. Do you clearly see that you're frustrated? Yes, I do. That is the mind faculty clearly knowing the frustration. The feeling of irritation is the reaction of mental consciousness. If you don't follow it, only the clear knowing remains. The mind faculty does not oppose emotions nor cling to them. If anger appears, the mind faculty knows anger is present. If worry appears, it knows worry is present. If peace appears, it knows peace is present. It does not say, "You must be like this to be right," nor does it scold, "Why are you like that?" It simply knows, gently, honestly, without bias. So, if someone provokes me, I just look at the emotion without responding? Yes, you can breathe deeply, smile slightly, and say quietly, "There is anger in me." Then you are living with the mind faculty. From that knowing, natural wisdom appears, and you'll know what to say and do without harming yourself or others. Living with the mind faculty is living with the mind's natural wisdom, not forcing, not pretending, simply seeing rightly and living rightly. On a bright moonlit night, the teacher led the children to the main hall to sit in silent meditation. There were only the sounds of insects, of wind, threading through the leaves, and the heartbeat thumping steadily. Do you sense this silence? Yes, everything feels very still. My heart is calm as well. I hear the insects, but I'm not distracted like before. I just know that I'm hearing. That is the mind faculty fully illuminating. When you live in that knowing, you are no longer a person who chases emotions. You are awake. The mind faculty is the gateway to the true mind. You don't need to seek anywhere far. You don't need to force the mind to stop thinking. Just return and recognize the knowing that knows everything happening without adding anything to it. The mind faculty helps us see. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. We are not this body. We are the clear knowing already present in everyone. When you live in that knowing, you will know how to live in the world without being swept away by it. You still study, play, and work, but you are no longer lost. Awakening is here. Liberation is here, right within the mind faculty, the wondrous doorway of the heart. The next morning, the sky was clear. Sunbeams streamed through the trees, casting a soft golden hue across the temple yard. Baon and Tam Nok sat by the teacher, their eyes shining as if understanding had never been so deep. Children, today is our last formal lesson about the mind faculty, but in truth, the practice never ends. Because the mind faculty is always present, right, teacher? Yes, as long as you breathe, and even when this body of 4 elements disperses, the mind faculty is still clearly knowing. So never forget it. The mind faculty opens the door to a wordless treasure. It promises nothing. It grants no magical tricks. Yet, if you live fully with it, every moment is miraculous. You will clearly see. When sadness comes, you are not dragged along by sadness. When anger comes, you are not burned by anger. When thinking comes, you are not bound by thinking. You are no longer stuck in the role of who I am. You return to being the quiet observer. The teacher, looking at the children with affection, said, "From today, live as intimate friends of the mind faculty. Let no day pass without recognizing there is a knowing that knows everything." And so, the journey home, back to your true self, has begun. At the end of the lesson, the three put their palms together and recited Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. In the sound of the bell and in the gentle sunlight, the mind faculty quietly abides, illuminating each step as it returns to stillness, manifesting just as it is, with no knower and no known. That is non-self, anatta, and non-object. That is the ever-present true mind, the Buddha nature, shining in each of us.
Nam mô Bổn sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.